Once upon a time, there was a little girl named Melanie who just couldn't fall asleep. As she tossed and turned in her cozy bed, her favorite cowgirl blanket wrapped around her shoulders, something magical began to happen. The stars on her ceiling started to twinkle differently, and before she knew it, they swirled into a sparkling portal. Whoosh! Melanie found herself standing in the middle of a dusty street in an old western town, wearing a cute little cowgirl outfit complete with boots and a hat. "Well, howdy there, partner," called out a friendly voice. Melanie turned to see a talking horse named Dusty, with a beautiful chestnut coat that shimmered in the sunset. "We sure could use your help today," Dusty said with a gentle whinny. Dusty explained that the town's special golden horseshoe, which brought good luck to all the farm animals, had been stolen by a mysterious bandit. "Will you help us find it, Melanie?" Dusty asked, lowering his head so she could climb onto his back. Together, they galloped through canyons and across flowing streams, following mysterious hoof prints in the sand. Along the way, they met Billy the kind cactus, who offered them water from his own supply, and Sally the singing rattlesnake, who taught them a special tracking song. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in beautiful oranges and purples, they spotted something glinting in the distance. There, atop Thunder Mountain, was a golden horseshoe, but getting to it wouldn't be easy. They'd have to cross a rickety old bridge. "I'm a little scared," Melanie admitted, but Dusty reminded her that being brave doesn't mean not feeling afraid. It means doing what needs to be done even when you are afraid. Taking a deep breath, Melanie led the way across the bridge. When they finally reached the horseshoe, they discovered the bandit was actually a lonely little prairie dog who just wanted to make friends but didn't know how to ask. Melanie suggested they all have a friendship party instead, and soon the whole town was celebrating with lemonade and cowboy cookies. As the stars began twinkling again, Melanie felt herself getting sleepy. She gave Dusty a big hug and waved goodbye to all her new friends. In a blink, she was back in her bed, clutching her cowgirl blanket. From that night on, whenever Melanie had trouble sleeping, she would think about her adventure in the Old West, remembering that sometimes the best friendships start with a little understanding, and that being brave doesn't mean you can't be scared. And as she drifted off to sleep, she could almost hear Dusty whinnying goodnight.
Close your eyes and let me take you on a magical journey beneath the waves, where we'll follow the amazing adventure of a young boy named Theo. It all started on an ordinary night, just like this one as Theo was getting ready for bed. While brushing his teeth, Theo noticed something peculiar. His bathroom mirror began to ripple like water. Before he could even blink, whoosh! He was suddenly pulled through, tumbling through what felt like warm, salty water. When Theo opened his eyes, he found himself floating in the most beautiful place he'd ever seen, the Great Barrier Reef. All around him, rainbow-colored fish darted between coral formations that looked like underwater castles. A friendly sea turtle named Tommy glided up to him, and to Theo's surprise, he could breathe and talk underwater. "Welcome to our home," Tommy said with a gentle smile. "But we need your help, Theo. Something strange has been happening in our reef." The turtle explained that mysterious dark shadows had been scaring away the fish and making the coral lose its color. Theo's heart started racing with excitement. This was his chance to be a real hero. Together with Tommy, they swam deeper into the reef, where the water grew darker and the shadows longer. Schools of silvery fish whispered warnings as they passed, and even the sea anemones seemed to shrink away. Suddenly, they came face to face with the source of the problem. A giant fishing net had gotten tangled in the reef, casting those frightening shadows. But it wasn't just any net. This one was glowing with an eerie blue light. Showing incredible bravery, Theo remembered the sailor's knots his grandfather had taught him. Working together with Tommy and a group of clever octopuses, they carefully untangled the magical net. As soon as they freed the last piece, the net dissolved into thousands of tiny, sparkling bubbles that floated up toward the surface, spreading magic that made the coral glow with renewed life. The reef came alive with celebration. Fish of every color swam in beautiful patterns. Dolphins jumped and played, and even the shy seahorses came out to thank Theo. As reward for his courage, the Queen of the Reef gave Theo a special shell necklace that would always remind him of his underwater adventure. Just as Theo was wondering how he'd get home, he felt the familiar whoosh again. In the blink of an eye, he was back in his bathroom, still in his pajamas, with only the shell necklace as proof of his amazing journey. Now every night before bed, Theo holds his shell necklace close and smiles, knowing that somewhere beneath the waves, his friend Tommy the Turtle and all the creatures of the Great Barrier Reef are having their own magical adventures. And who knows, maybe tonight when you're falling asleep, you might have an incredible underwater adventure of your own.
Once upon a time, there was a curious little girl named Ruby who loved exploring her backyard garden. One warm evening just before bedtime, while chasing a beautiful glowing firefly, something extraordinary happened. Ruby noticed a mysterious hole beneath her favorite apple tree. As she leaned in to take a closer look, whoosh, the ground suddenly gave way and down she tumbled. "Oh no," she gasped, her heart racing as she slid deeper and deeper into the darkness. But then something magical began to happen. Tiny specks of light like stars started appearing all around her. The darkness wasn't scary anymore, it was becoming beautiful. As Ruby's eyes adjusted, she realized she had discovered a whole hidden world beneath her garden. There were crystal caves that sparkled in rainbow colors, and friendly mushrooms that glowed like nightlights. She met a family of talking moles who wore tiny spectacles and kept a library of underground stories. They told her about their collection of books about earthworm adventures and beetle chronicles. In one corner, she found a group of fireflies having a dance party, their lights creating the most wonderful patterns on the cave walls. They invited Ruby to join their celebration, and she danced and twirled, her giggles echoing through the tunnels. A wise old turtle named Theodore showed her around his underground garden, where flowers bloomed in the dark, their petals shimmering with a soft magical glow. He explained how this special ecosystem worked, with each creature playing an important role in keeping their underground world healthy and happy. Ruby discovered a crystal-clear underground stream where fish with lights on their fins swam gracefully. They performed a synchronized swimming show just for her, making her clap with delight. Nearby, a choir of crickets provided the perfect background music. As she explored further, Ruby found a cozy nook where phosphorescent butterflies would rest, their wings creating a gentle nightlight effect. It reminded her of her own bedroom and made her realize it must be getting late. The friendly moles showed her a special shortcut back home, a smooth slide made from polished stone that would lead right back to her garden. As she prepared to leave, all her new underground friends gathered to say goodbye, promising she could visit again whenever she wanted. When Ruby finally emerged from the hole, she found herself back in her garden, just as the first stars were appearing in the sky. Her mom was calling her name. It was bedtime. That night, as Ruby snuggled into bed, she smiled, knowing that sometimes the scariest-looking situations can turn into the most wonderful adventures. And who knows, maybe tomorrow night she'd discover another magical world right in her own backyard. Have you ever wondered what happens when you close your eyes at night? Well, let me tell you about a special little girl named Delilah who discovered something extraordinary one magical evening. Delilah was just like any other 7-year-old, with wild curly hair that seemed to have a mind of its own, and bright green eyes that sparkled with curiosity. Every night she'd resist bedtime with all her might, claiming she wasn't tired at all. But this particular night was different. As she lay in her cozy bed, surrounded by her favorite stuffed animals, something magical began to happen. Her purple polka dot blanket started to shimmer and glow, and before she knew it, she was floating, up and away from her bedroom through a tunnel of twinkling stars. When she landed, Delilah found herself in the most amazing place she'd ever seen. The grass was made of cotton candy, and the trees had rainbow leaves that sang sweet lullabies. In this magical dreamland, she discovered she could be anything she wanted to be. First, she became a brave astronaut, zooming through clouds made of sparkly sugar dust. Then, with just a thought, she transformed into a graceful mermaid, swimming through rivers of liquid moonlight. Oh, and you should have seen her when she became a magnificent dragon, breathing butterflies instead of fire. As she explored this wonderful world, Delilah met other children who were having their own amazing adventures. There was Tommy, who had turned himself into a talking teddy bear, and Sarah, who was conducting an orchestra of friendly fireflies. But the most incredible part? In this magical dream world, even the impossible became possible. Delilah could talk to flowers that told funny jokes, ride on the back of giant friendly clouds, and dance with stars that had jumped down from the sky just to play with her. Time worked differently in this special place. Hours felt like minutes, and every moment was filled with wonder and joy. Delilah learned that bedtime wasn't something to fight against anymore. It was actually a gateway to the most amazing adventures anyone could imagine. As the night began to fade and morning started to peek through, Delilah felt herself floating back to her bed. When she opened her eyes, she was tucked safely under her covers. But now she knew a wonderful secret. Every night could bring a new adventure in the magical world of dreams. From that day on, Delilah couldn't wait for bedtime, because she knew that when she closed her eyes, she wasn't just going to sleep. She was embarking on another extraordinary journey in her very own dreamland, where anything and everything was possible. And you know what? This magical dream world isn't just for Delilah. It's waiting for you too, every single night when you close your eyes. What adventure will you have tonight?
As night falls in the cozy nursery, all the toys are getting ready for their peaceful slumber. Well, almost all of them. There's one little stubborn teddy bear who just isn't ready to call it a day. While the moon peeks through the window and stars twinkle outside, Teddy's eyes are wide open, full of playful energy. I'm not sleepy at all, Teddy whispers to himself, bouncing up and down on his fluffy paws. He tries spinning in circles, hoping it might make him tired, but it only makes him gigglier. Then he decides to tiptoe around the nursery, his soft feet barely making a sound on the wooden floor. Maybe someone else is awake, he thinks hopefully. First, he waddles over to his friend Bunny, who's usually up for a midnight hop. But what does he find? Bunny is curled up in her favorite spot, her long ears draped over her eyes like a silky sleep mask, breathing softly. Undeterred, Teddy shuffles over to Duck's corner. Duck always loves a late night swim, he remembers. But there's Duck, nestled in a pile of soft blankets, his orange beak tucked under his wing, dreaming of splashing in puddles. Robot will definitely be awake. He doesn't even need sleep, right? Teddy thinks excitedly. But as he approaches Robot's charging station, he sees a gentle blue glow of Robot's sleep mode, and the quiet whirring sound that means he's recharging for tomorrow's adventures. Teddy sits down in the middle of the nursery, surrounded by his sleeping friends. The quiet is so peaceful. The moonlight creates soft shadows that dance on the walls, and the gentle tick-tock of the clock feels like a lullaby. Well, maybe I could just rest my eyes for a moment, Teddy thinks, letting out a tiny yawn. But that tiny yawn turns into a bigger one, and then an even bigger one. It's like a wave of sleepiness washing over him, making his eyelids feel heavier and heavier. Before he knows it, Teddy finds himself crawling to his own special spot, right next to his favorite blue blanket. As he snuggles in, he realizes that maybe bedtime isn't so bad after all. Sometimes the coziest adventures happen when we close our eyes and drift off to dreamland. And just like that, the nursery becomes completely quiet, filled with the gentle breathing of sleeping toys, all dreaming of tomorrow's exciting adventures together. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to be a seahorse? Well, little Oliver was about to find out. As he snuggled deep into his warm, cozy bed one night, his eyelids grew heavy, and the gentle waves of sleep began to wash over him. Suddenly, Oliver felt himself floating, drifting through crystal clear waters. To his amazement, he had transformed into a tiny seahorse, no bigger than his mother's thumb. His body was covered in golden scales that sparkled in the dancing sunlight that filtered through the water, welcome to the reef," chirped a friendly blue tang fish swimming by. Oliver discovered he could curl his tail around swaying seagrass, just like real seahorses do. He learned that male seahorses are actually the ones who carry babies in their special pouches. Imagine that. Throughout his magical day, Oliver rode the ocean currents like a tiny underwater cowboy. He played hide and seek in the coral gardens with a group of young seahorses, their colors changing from orange to purple to match their surroundings. He even helped a lost baby clownfish find its way back to its anemone home. As the sun began to set in his dream world, Oliver watched in wonder as bioluminescent plankton lit up the water like thousands of tiny underwater stars. A wise old turtle swam by and shared a secret. Seahorses sleep by anchoring themselves to seaweed with their special tails, gently swaying with the current. Oliver felt himself growing sleepy in his dream, and the rocking motion of the waves became softer and softer. The turtle's voice grew distant as it whispered, "Sleep tight, little seahorse. Tomorrow brings new adventures." Back in his bed, Oliver smiled in his sleep, his breathing now matching the gentle rhythm of the waves he'd experienced in his dream. His tiny fingers curled around his blanket, just as his seahorse tail had curled around the seaweed. And as you lie here now, perhaps you too can feel the gentle sway of the ocean, rocking back and forth. Back and forth. Let your body float peacefully like a little seahorse, drifting off into sweet dreams of your own magical underwater adventures. Good night, little ones. Sleep tight, just like Oliver and his seahorse friends. Hey there, little dreamers. Tonight, I want to tell you about a very special girl named Poppy, who had the most incredible adventure just as she was getting ready for bed. Poppy was snuggled up under her favorite star-patterned blanket, her room softly lit by her dinosaur nightlight. She had just finished reading her favorite book about prehistoric creatures when her eyelids started feeling heavy. As she drifted off to sleep, something magical happened. The walls of her bedroom seemed to melt away like ice cream on a summer day. And suddenly, Poppy found herself standing in a lush, green jungle. The air felt warm and humid, and strange plants she'd never seen before towered above her. In the distance, she heard a sound that made her heart skip a beat. Stomp, stomp, stomp. Could it be? Yes, a magnificent brachiosaurus was walking by, its long neck reaching up into the treetops to munch on leaves. Poppy couldn't believe her eyes. She tiptoed through the prehistoric forest, discovering more amazing dinosaurs. There was a family of triceratops drinking from a crystal clear lake, their 3 horns gleaming in the sunlight. A group of tiny compsognathus scurried past her feet, chittering like excited birds. But then, Poppy heard another sound, one that made her freeze in her tracks. Roar! A Tyrannosaurus Rex was nearby, but Poppy wasn't scared. In her dream, she could run as fast as the wind, and she giggled as she zoomed past the mighty T-Rex, who looked quite confused at not being able to catch such a speedy little human. She found herself in a clearing where baby pterodactyls were learning to fly, awkwardly flapping their wings like kids learning to ride a bicycle. Poppy even got to help one little pterodactyl who was nervous about taking its first flight, giving it a gentle pat and words of encouragement. As the prehistoric sun began to set, painting the sky in beautiful oranges and purples, Poppy felt herself getting sleepy again. The jungle started to fade, and the dinosaurs waved goodbye with their tails and claws. Slowly, the walls of her bedroom came back into focus. Poppy was once again tucked safely in her bed, her dinosaur nightlight still glowing softly. She smiled, knowing that while the dinosaurs may be gone from our world, They're always alive in our imagination, ready for us to visit them in our dreams. And now, little ones, as you close your eyes, remember that just like Poppy, you too can have amazing adventures in your dreams. Maybe you'll visit the dinosaurs, or perhaps you'll discover something entirely different. The world of dreams is waiting for you, full of wonder and excitement. Sweet dreams, young adventurers. Tomorrow night, who knows what magical journey you might take? Hey there! Let me tell you about my best friend, my silly, adorable goat named Buttons. Every morning, I wake up extra early, just as the sun peeks over the hills, because Buttons is always eager to start our daily adventures together. You see, taking care of a goat isn't like having a regular pet. Buttons has quite the personality. She wakes me up by making these funny meh sounds outside my window. I think she learned that trick when she saw how much it made me laugh the first time. My day with Buttons starts with breakfast time. While I munch on my cereal, she happily munches on her fresh hay. But here's a secret: Buttons is the pickiest eater I know. She'll turn her nose up at perfectly good hay if it is not exactly the way she likes it. Can you believe that? Sometimes she even tries to steal my toast when I'm not looking. After breakfast, we head out to the pasture. Did you know goats are amazing climbers? Buttons can climb pretty much anything she sets her mind to. Sometimes I worry she'll get stuck up on the highest rocks, but she always proves me wrong. She's like a mountain climber in a goat's body. One of our favorite games is what I call Follow the Leader. Buttons follows me everywhere I go, but then suddenly decides she's a leader and I have to follow her. She takes me on the most incredible adventures around our farm, showing me all her secret spots and hidden treasures. At lunchtime, I give Buttons her special treats, fresh vegetables from our garden. She goes absolutely crazy for carrots. The funny thing is, she doesn't just eat them, she does this happy little dance first, hopping around in circles. It's the most adorable thing you've ever seen. In the afternoon, we have our grooming session. Buttons pretends she doesn't like being brushed, but I know she secretly loves it. She stands there making these content little sounds while I brush her coat until it is nice and shiny. Sometimes she even falls asleep standing up. Can you imagine? The most challenging part of my day is keeping Buttons out of trouble. She's incredibly curious and clever, maybe too clever. Once, she figured out how to open the garden gate and helped herself to Mom's prize-winning flowers. Mom wasn't too happy about that, but how could anyone stay mad at that innocent face? As the day winds down, we have our evening ritual. I read stories to Buttons in her cozy barn while she rests her head on my lap. Sometimes I think she understands every word I'm saying, especially when I tell her about all the adventures we'll have tomorrow. Before bedtime, I make sure she has fresh water and enough hay for the night. Buttons always gives me a gentle headbutt that is her way of saying good night and thank you. You know what? Taking care of a goat is a big responsibility, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Buttons isn't just my pet, she's my best friend, my adventure buddy, and the most amazing goat in the whole wide world. Hey there, adventurers! Today I'm going to tell you about an amazing dream I had. I'm Kai, and last night, I went on the most incredible journey through the magical rainforest. It all started when I was reading my favorite book about jungle animals. As I dozed off, suddenly, my bedroom transformed into a lush, green wonderland. The ceiling disappeared, replaced by towering trees stretching up into the sky. their leaves creating a natural umbrella above me. My first friend on this adventure was Pablo, a colorful toucan with a rainbow beak who became my tour guide. "Welcome to my home," he squawked cheerfully. "Did you know that rainforests are like nature's apartment buildings? Different animals live on different levels of the forest." Pablo flew me up to meet some of his neighbors. We saw playful spider monkeys swinging through the canopy, teaching me how they use their tails like an extra hand. Then we spotted a sleepy sloth who told us that moving slowly helps save energy. Pretty smart, right? But the adventure got even more exciting when we discovered a secret waterfall. There, I met Diana the jaguar, who taught me something really important. She explained that rainforests are like Earth's lungs. They help our planet breathe by turning bad air into good air that we all need. As we ventured deeper, we came across Rosa the poison dart frog, small but wearing the most beautiful bright colors I'd ever seen. She shared a sad story about how parts of her home were disappearing because of something called deforestation. But she also told me how kids like you and me can help. We can save paper by using both sides when drawing, tell our parents about buying rainforest-friendly products, and even help plant trees in our own neighborhoods. Every little bit helps protect these amazing forests. Just before my dream ended, all my new animal friends gathered around. They showed me how the rainforest is like one big family. Every plant and animal helps each other survive. The trees provide homes for animals. The animals help spread seeds for new trees. And even the tiny insects play important roles. When I woke up, I realized something amazing even though it was just a dream. The rainforest needs our help in real life too. And guess what? Each one of us, no matter how small, can be a rainforest hero. So, what do you say? Are you ready to join me in helping protect these incredible places? Remember what Pablo the toucan told me. Even the smallest wings can make the biggest difference. Let us work together to keep our rainforests safe and beautiful for all the amazing animals that call it home. And who knows, maybe tonight, you'll have your own magical rainforest adventure in your dreams too. Hey there, little dreamers. Let me tell you about Tommy, a curious boy who loved nothing more than gazing at the stars from his bedroom window. Every night, he'd put on his homemade cardboard astronaut helmet and dream of floating among the twinkling lights above. One magical night, as Tommy drifted off to sleep, something extraordinary happened. His bed began to float, transforming into a spectacular spacecraft. "Mission control to Tommy," a friendly voice called. "Are you ready for your space adventure? First stop, the moon." As Tommy bounced across the lunar surface, he discovered that the moon's gravity is only 1/6 of Earth's. "No wonder I can jump so high," he giggled, leaping like a kangaroo. He learned that the moon's dark spots, which look like a face from Earth, are actually ancient lava plains called Maria. But Tommy's adventure wasn't over yet. His cosmic bedship zoomed toward the red planet, Mars. "Did you know," whispered the voice from Mission Control, "that Mars has the largest volcano in our solar system?" Tommy's eyes widened as he saw Olympus Mons, 3 times taller than Mount Everest. On Mars, Tommy rode down red sand dunes and discovered frozen ice caps at the poles. He learned that Mars has 2 tiny moons named Phobos and Deimos, which look like potatoes floating in space. He even found out that Mars has seasons just like Earth, though they last twice as long. As Tommy explored, he spotted something peculiar: robot tracks in the sand. "Those are from the Mars rovers," Mission Control explained. "They're like space robots that scientists send to study Mars. Tommy imagined being a scientist one day, controlling these incredible machines from Earth. The adventure continued as Tommy discovered ancient dried-up riverbeds on Mars, evidence that water once flowed on the red planet. Maybe there was once life here, he wondered, his imagination running wild with possibilities. But soon, it was time to head home. As Tommy's bedship descended back to Earth, he realized something important. Dreams aren't just for sleeping, they are the first step toward amazing achievements. Many astronauts started just like him, looking up at the stars and wondering what if. As Tommy drifted off to sleep for real this time, he smiled, knowing that someday, his cardboard helmet might be replaced with a real one. After all, every great space explorer started with a dream, just like his. Remember, little dreamers, the universe is full of mysteries waiting to be discovered. Who knows, maybe one day, you'll be the one leaving footprints on Mars, just like Tommy did in his wonderful dream adventure. Sweet dreams, future astronauts.